Hello and welcome back to Talking Pitch Side. I'm your host PJ with my co-host Tony, who's fit and ready to go to the FC Cincinnati Tigres game. So we will not be talking about that game today. So while you're listening to this, just know Tony's either really happy or really sad. So that's the only two
That's it,
outcomes. There's
right.
no middle. There's no middle ground in this.
Yeah, we could
It's
not draw.
disappointment or excitement. But we're going to get through these games with him. I've got him for a little bit here. We'll do some previews before we get into the MLS Week 4 previews. CONCACAF happened midweek, Tony. I know we just talked about it briefly. I know you didn't get to watch a ton of it, but crazy games. Philly loses 2-1, so that was disappointing. San Diego played in the most chaotic game I've ever watched against Toluca. So they went down a man, gave up a penalty in the 18th minute. They go down 1-0. They then score 3 consecutive goals down a man and end up holding on, get a second red card late, holding on 3-2. And I was worried because if you watch the end of it, it looked like the gas was coming out of the car a little bit. And you could tell, like, we've just been playing men down for the whole game. And they held on, did enough. I don't know how that will go in the second leg, so we'll see about that. But as a San Diego fan, I mean, I don't know how much more you can ask for when your team goes down a man in the 18th minute in the CONCACAF against Toluca, who is one of the best Liga MX sides this year. And it's got to be a fun brand to watch because no matter what the situation is, they're there to score goals, Tony. They're there to attack, and that didn't change when they went down a man and went down a goal early.
Well, and the passion. I didn't get to see much, but I did get to see the second red card. And, up 2 goals, and we're still just playing goalkeeper at center back. I appreciate that from Mano Dua. Now, will that come back to bite him in leg 2 in Toluca? We'll find out soon enough. But no, I mean, I think that's as much as you can ask for. I mean, even scoring, you mentioned it, but scoring 3 goals down a man is just an incredible feat. And I think that is just more proof for the system, right? It doesn't matter who's on the field. Everyone's very clear about what they need to do. And they get it done. And it just, something about it is so evasive for teams like even Toluca, who are, you said one of the best. I think right now they're considered the best Liga MX team. Yeah. Even they can't chase us down. So that is that's going to be really interesting how that shakes out. And the winner of this matchup gets LA Galaxy and Mount Pleasant or whatever. So it's like, oh man, both teams are chomping at the bit. Yeah, because that's a great next leg. So yeah, it's a good bit for San Diego, but we know how these go in CONCACAF. Usually Liga MX teams kind of pull their punches until leg 2 when it's back at home, and then they unleash. So, but we were worried about that with San Diego against Pumas, and they made it work. So we'll see.
Yeah, I think what you can guarantee, which is different about San Diego than a lot of MLS teams, I would argue, in the past, is they're going to go to Toluca and they're not going to change. Like a lot of teams, when they get up a lead, we've seen it. Teams will go in and just try and hold on to a lead. That's not how you're going to win in the CONCACAF Champions Cup against these teams. They go wherever they go, they're playing their brand, and that may still result in them losing this leg. But I think you're going to see their best punch to try and not only win the aggregate, but win that match entirely by scoring goals. So I think that's exciting, and I'm sure we'll see that when that game comes around. Next game that I want to cover really quick, I really don't need that much time. Nashville, Miami, we were all excited about. That game stunk. We all thought there was going to be goals, no goals. Honestly, Miami's coming out of that happy because it was in Nashville, and you're getting a 0-0 going back to your home place. Nashville was the better side. They had the better chances. Miami really didn't have many. I mean, it was pretty stale the whole match, and somehow they held on. And you got to give them credit. That's when you're on the road in these type of matches, you've just got to keep it as a draw, and you feel good about it. So they did their job. Nashville's gonna be disappointed. I'm still not going to just guarantee Miami's moving on. I think Nashville's going to come in and give them their best punch, but it's going to be tough for them to do that in Miami. So we'll see how that one ends up.
Only quick thing to add to this, I think it was a good thing for Miami to at least allow shooting practice for Dane St. Clair. Yeah. He's been a little shaky to start the season. Confidence. So, get a little confidence rolling. And, when it's a short week, just a few days from their last game, rolling on the road again, I think, it's just one of those things. It's survive in advance, 0-0. It's a fresh game at your own house. So I think they're content with this.
Yep. Okay, well, let's get into week 4, MLS. Some quick previews. To start us off, we have a 1 p.m. game this week on Saturday. Toronto at home versus Red Bull. Two teams that are coming off two very different spectrums of the season so far. Toronto started 0-2. They get a big win against FC Cincinnati. Red Bull start 2-0, and they get a really disappointing loss against Montreal. And now we're going Toronto's first home game of the year at home versus Red Bulls. This one I think is going to be a really good game. I think Toronto's without Walker Zimmerman, so that's a pretty key miss there for them. And the Red Bulls will be interesting to see how they line up with how they looked this last game with inserting Choupo-Moting and it not going as well. So I'm interested to see how they line up. I think this game is going to be really tight, and I actually think this one's going to be shared points. I think these two teams are both going to be motivated in two different ways, trying to bounce back and keep the process moving forward. And I think it's going to result in a 1-1, especially because of that Walker Zimmerman missing piece. I think that's going to play a factor in this one, and I think Red Bulls will be able to get a goal. I think it's going to be a 1-1 score line, and these two teams share a point in this one.
Yeah, it's interesting. Kind of, you mentioned the shift in momentum that both teams hit last week, and how that really just informs what they're doing. Because Toronto specifically, they switched to a 5-back against Cincinnati. That seemed to really work well from them. But I think that the key part of that was Zimmerman being the center of the center backs. And I think that protected him a lot from kind of getting isolated on these quick 1v1 situations and allowed him to be the aerial dual winner that he is. And so
you need that against Choupo-Moting as well. So that's where it's going to be tough.
Correct. So that part hurts. It'll be interesting to see if they stick with that. I would lend to think that they would, just because Red Bull's big threat, especially coming at you, is on the wings with that pace. So that'll be an interesting watch if Zimmerman's replaceable or not back there. And on the other side, it's okay. Red Bull's just got smacked in the face. Is Michael Bradley going to stick with playing the kids, or are we going to see more rotation? I think the one big asterisk from losing to CF Montreal too is no Ronald Doncourt for Red Bulls in that game, who a lot of people are really high on. And I'm not sure if he is going to be available in this one or not. But I think that the firepower there, it could fall out. And speaking of firepower too, we didn't even mention Josh Sargent, who should probably make an appearance at this one too. So if he doesn't start, so I think I'm going to lean towards the home team on this one. But I do agree with you. I think there's no clean sheets to be had here. I think this is going to be like a 2-1, maybe a 3-2 kind of higher scoring affair.
Nice. Okay. Well, I really don't want to transition this next one because this is an early season stink off. But I'll tell you that this is early season spoon watch if I've ever seen it. No, not that bad for these two teams. Well, maybe one of them
could be.
But Atlanta at home versus Philadelphia. This game is two teams that need a point. Someone's getting one, Tony. Whether it's both of them or someone's getting a point out of this game, and they need it. And I'm going to lean towards the home team. And I don't like it. It's gross because they just lost at home last week. So you never really know. But Philadelphia, I think, is in that rough a shape right now as well. Tony, I'm calling a shot here. Latte Lot scores a goal in this game. I'm calling it. I'm calling it. He breaks the curse. He gets on the score sheet. And they win this game 2-1. These teams aren't going to shut out. So I'm going to go 2-1. Atlanta at home. I don't like it. I don't like this game. If you were a betting man, I would stay far away from it. It's going to be gross. It's a sicko game. This is the sicko of all sicko games right now. So I'm going to say Atlanta gets 3 points and Philadelphia's rough run continues.
I like the spin you put on it. Like, someone's getting points out of this.
Yeah,
maybe both
someone's coming out with points.
It's a positive, right? Yeah, I like the half glass full here. The half glass empty is if you don't come out of this game with a point, then it's really not looking good for whoever you are, right? I want to lean towards Atlanta too because it's the talent thing, it's the coach thing, like when in doubt. But it's like we've had so much reason to doubt. Yeah, right. Like that, it's just like, but are you seriously telling me that a team with Philadelphia who's like just not even recognizable anymore is going to fall short is going to overcome Latte Loth and Almiron and Moranchuk. Honestly, possible, but
Just Moranchuk, honestly. You can just
it's
stop at Moranchuk.
yeah, that's right. You're right. Moranchuk brace last week, so
Yeah.
he's on a heater. No, I just have to go with Atlanta here. It's the home team. Like I said, the wheel can only land on black so many times before it hits
Yep.
red. Like it's
Yep.
just they're gonna find it. So I'm going Atlanta.
Yeah. Next game here, 6:15. We get a 6:15 game, which is interesting. Just a little bit taste before the 7:30 slate. We have Columbus Crew at home versus Nashville. Coming into this season, I think you would have looked at this game and like, this is a great game. And I think it actually is going to play really close because Nashville's playing just coming off a midweek game against Miami, so you have that
Yeah,
factored into this. You're on the road at Columbus. Columbus's offense hasn't looked horrible. I know they got shut out last week, but they still had chances in the 2 games prior. They scored goals. It's their defense that I've been more concerned about, honestly, and I was shocked that Chicago wasn't able to get one across the line against it. I mean, Patrick Schulte made an incredible save to make sure that happened. I don't know if they're going to be able to prevent Nashville to stay out of the net like they did last week for Chicago. I'm going to go draw on this one.
hmm.
I'm really
Wow.
torn because I it's tough. I think the midweek game is going to play a factor, and I really think them being on the road. Columbus is a tough place to play. I'm still going to go draw. I'm going to go
Dang.
2-2, high scoring game here. And I think this one is shared points. If there was not a midweek game, I'd be picking Nashville. I really would. I think they're
All
that
right.
good.
So I think the big question is Nashville going to rotate it all for this one to stay
Exactly.
kind of fresh for Miami again? And I think the answer is probably yes. Like between Espinoza, Mukhtar, and Surge, are we going to see all three of them on the field? Maybe it's only two or three. Um, the other side of this is that the Crew defense just needs all the help they can get. And I'm still like confident in this national team being able to score on them, even if, one or two of those stars is not on the field for Nashville at one time at least. Maybe they just kind of switch over. But um, with that being said, I also think that you're completely right, and that, double game week, you switch right back over to the road. That's going to play a factor too. I think that, the Crew, albeit they have finishing problems, they get in good spots. So I think that they're also going to score in this one. So I'm going to take a home win on this, but I'm going to take goals.
Nice.
So we're going to go a high score for the Crew. 1 goal margin win. I think if it was the other way around, if they didn't have CONCACAF, then maybe this goes Nashville's way. Yeah, I'm going to go home win just because that plays a big factor.
Nice. Another team, the team they just played, also played a midweek game in Inter Miami on the road against Charlotte at 7:30. After all that, I still love Miami's depth, so I don't really see it as much as a factor for Miami. And Charlotte's coming off a big win, so credit Charlotte from last week. I just think Miami's still too much for the Charlotte defense. I know they looked good last week, but it's a different different level that is coming at you, and I think Miami's gonna win on the road in this one. I'm gonna go 2-1. I don't think they're gonna blow the doors off, but I think we may even see a goal or two from some guys who haven't scored yet for Miami this season. They're gonna need it here soon because
Yeah.
if they're going to be rotating squads, they need some of these other guys to step up and make sure it's just not all on Messi.
Right. I think that I'm going to go home draw here. Honestly, or home draw. It's just a draw at both teams. But
Road draw
honestly,
too.
I wouldn't be too surprised with a 0-0 here. I just think that what we're going to see out of this is Miami kind of bunker and survive. This is second road game in a row. Actually, third road game in a row, right? Because last week they were on the road. So in Baltimore, but
Is it their fourth straight then?
yeah, because they're on the crazy road stretch right now because of
The stadium.
the new stadium, right?
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of road games piling up. They got a deep squad, I know that, but I think they're just going to sit back a little bit, kind of like how we saw in Nashville, and try and outlast. And honestly, Charlotte's not an offense that I would trust to break that down. So that's why I'm going to say I think this is a low scoring 0-0. Maybe Charlotte finds a poke through. I don't feel great about Miami in this one. Not because I think they're the worst team, but I just think the circumstances right now, they're focused on the following week's midweek against Nashville more than one game against Charlotte here. So
Yeah, I think this is going to shape up to be similar to last year, but in a even more dominant fashion for Miami, where they went on that run in the second half, where they were just so many games behind played,
Yeah.
and it's not going to look the same like that. But the amount of home games they're going to play late in the season, the run, I just think like the points you're going to see them stacking up week by week,
Oh,
and
it's
this
going to be
after the
scary.
World Cup is going to be ridiculous because it's going
Yeah.
to be all home games. Um, Continuing 7:30 here, NYCFC playing against Colorado. Colorado long road trip over to New York, so that plays a factor. And NYCFC coming off a good win, Colorado coming off a good win. These are two teams that are playing well, and I think this is a fun matchup, a sneaky one of the better matchups of the week to see how this Colorado team responds to playing 11v11 on the road and maybe trying to get a point that way. So I I think that they're capable. I think there's going to be goals in this game. I really do. I think Colorado is going to be one of those sneaky, great offensive teams this year. I think that defense is going to be leaky. I don't think when they're playing full strength and full strength, they're going to look great all the time. But I'm going to go NYCFC in this one. I'm going to take them at home. I'm going to go 2-1. I also want to look at the stats one of these days. I feel like NYCFC might just be like a better road team than home team because I feel like I tend to
No, it's
do this.
opposite. It's very
Really? Is
opposite.
it really?
Yeah, because the baseball field dimensions, everyone gets thrown off by that. Like in the bad like
Really?
sizing, they had yeah. It's
I feel
actually
like
there's
I'm
an
so
article or
used
two
to. I feel
about
like
it.
there's been
Yeah,
a handful of times I've been like they've looked great, and then like I'm not saying that it's this week in this case, but they've looked great in a road game. They surprised his team, and then they would go home, and I'm like I'm gonna pick them because they're doing great, and then they just lose, and maybe that's just when I
yeah.
pick them. So,
Well, that
uh,
they're also very hot and cold, but generally, especially the early years, they were really good at home. So as I have a
you gotta
guest
see
here,
a secret guest
yes,
behind you.
um, yeah, I these two teams are red card merchants. I'm not buying into too much of the hype. I do like NYCFC in this game though. I think that they seem to have their game plan built down a little bit. Nico Fernandez has been killer so far these first few weeks, really making a difference. Maxi Morales somehow doesn't seem to have lost a step yet. So I do like New York City better in this game. I think Orlando is just, or sorry, Orlando. I was looking at the last game they played. I think Colorado is, like you said, leaky in the back, just not structurally as sound as what they normally are. Paxton Aronson is still finding himself.
Stefan's still not back. He's still
Stefan's
injured.
still not back. So there's all these things. And I just saw that Colorado recalled one of their young goalkeepers from loan.
Hate to see
So
that.
yeah, that's probably not a good sign for the overall there. But yeah, taking New York City at home.
Nice. Uh oh, we didn't even lead the episode with this news. The news we just have we haven't even talked about. Orlando. Oscar Pereira gone,
Oh,
fired.
what are we doing? What are we
Yeah,
doing? Yeah.
he didn't lead with that. So big news out of Orlando. They fire Oscar, and I said it last episode. I did preface this. Like this was something I was like, I said I was like, I think he's on the hot seat. Like I think we could see an early season firing just because the GM. This was not his guy. This is a new GM, new makings of a team, and it was obvious that he was going to get frustrated with some losses and it's been bad. So that's been the factor, and we've talked about it. We've been concerned about it, and they pulled the plug very early. And I think it's harsh after the tenure he's been at in Orlando, what he's accomplished at Orlando, especially with the state of this roster currently. We've had our critiques of that back line and how open it is right now. The midfield, even to a degree, feeding into this attack that should be better. So there's been a lot of critiques. I think he himself would admit he should still be doing better with what he has. And I think this is one of those scenarios you're going to look back and say, oh gosh, we didn't realize what we had. Because I think if they don't
Yeah.
get this hiring right, this could get really ugly in Orlando this season. And from a team that everyone had some expectations to make the playoffs, like throw those out the window. Because if they don't get this hiring right or the team doesn't get motivated by this, I don't know what they're going to do. And I think this also kind of ruins your chances at Antoine Griezmann to a degree. Like, why would he want to come into this environment? It, there's a lot of mess in this. We didn't talk about it all. I can't believe I just
Yeah.
like didn't start the show with that. And probably
We're
because
like
we're in a
any
little bit. You,
news.
you got
Yeah.
to go to the game. We're in a little bit of a
Yeah.
rush, but
Right.
they're taking on Orlando. No better, or Orlando's taking on Montreal at home. This is dead manager bump 101 game, by the way.
Oh yeah,
Everyone couldn't be lower. You're sad about the, or if you're a Atlanta fan, you're sad, you're depressed. Montreal, yes, they're coming off a big win, but this is the perfect like let's turn it around, let's rally together type of game, and I think that's exactly what's going to happen. I think Orlando's going to win this game 2-1, and we're going to get dead manager bump 101 here.
that's tempting to go with. I'm kind of like leaning a little bit more towards a draw
Oh
here. Yeah, I know,
no,
I know.
you're a chaos merchant. You want
I
death.
am. I
You
love it.
want
I
death.
love it. I'm going to be hate watching this one unless it's a draw. But I just think that, like, I think you hit it well that Oscar Pareja, like, yeah, things were not like a bed of roses right now, but that was really harsh. And I read the release as kind of a mutually agreed to part ways, which you never know what that truly means, right? But 3 games in just seems very, like actually plausible that that was a mutually agreed to part ways
Yeah,
kind
and
of thing.
there's maybe things behind the scenes and players that he
Yeah,
wanted this offseason that the guy just
right.
disagreed with. Like this doesn't happen if it's two guys that are on the same page. Like this just doesn't, especially in the MLS. It doesn't happen.
And I
So,
yeah, and I think that shows with the Brazilian U22s that came in. None of them have
mhm.
looked good so far. Obviously, losing Robin Janssen has just been a huge blow for the back line as well. And then the Griezmann thing, at least getting delayed. It's like he doesn't even get the striker that he would like. Um, I I just think that's a really hard thing for a team that like I'm not sure. I don't think the coaching was helping, but I don't think at this point where the talent is at, it was hurting either.
Mhm.
And we know Montreal, at least against Red Bulls, but I would assume this is kind of their playbook is that they like to go of a more man-to-man press style. And what does that really do? That emphasizes the individual talent of players, and that's where like I don't know if it's at the Montreal level where Orlando's at, but I think that makes it's pretty close. So that's where I kind of feel like tempted to go with the draw here. I think Montreal is going to play their buns off. I think that Orlando, I mean, now there's new things to prove. Like you said, you don't know who the new coach is going to be. There's new opportunities to get starting spots and stay on the team and contracts and all of that. Um, but it to me just seems like this is a little bit of it's more than a structural issue. It's more of the individual components. So
Okay, well, I got you for 15, 13 more minutes here. I'm going to go through. We'll do some quick hitter ones, like the games that aren't as big. So I just want to get your prediction on them. Chicago DC is one of those. Unfortunately, sorry to Chicago and DC fans. I think the DC story is interesting, but I think this is a game that's probably going to get lost in a lot of these other ones going on. I'm going to take Chicago at home. I think they bounce back with a victory. I'm going to say 2-1 in this one.
yeah, I'm going to take Chicago too. I agree. No clean sheet here. I think DC gets their opportunities here. I think they're going to have opportunities just because Chicago likes to play pretty brave on the wings. And if they can get any kind of movement, any penetration on Chicago's side, we got the tap in Merchant and Baribo that can really clean some things up. And Chicago just feels like the right team that he could really feast on. So I'll take Chicago at home, but there's goals.
Dallas at home versus San Diego. I can't pick against the San Diego side. I love watching them play offensively. I think Dallas is going to be prone to be attacked defensively in this one. I think the only chance they have at home is Musa, just a little bit of heroic effort on the offensive end when they get their chances. But I don't bank on that. I'm going to go San Diego 3-1 in this one. I think they're going to keep up the scoring.
Wow. The only thing I know for sure about this game is the two guys that got the red cards in Barton and Dua are going to play 90 in this.
But yeah, because they're not going to
But
play midweek.
correct. That's the only thing I'm sure of here. I think otherwise, I just, man, you've seen it over and over again that the midweek CONCACAF just totally sap, the energy out of
San
teams.
Diego
And
so far.
I know but I agree with you. I just can't go against San Diego. So I'm gonna go with them, but this is a 1 goal margin game, maybe a 1-0 like they ripped off at Sporting Kansas City. I could see it something like that.
Houston at home versus Portland. Game I'm actually really interested to watch. I haven't watched a ton of these teams yet, like full games, and this might be the 8:30 game that I have on my TV out of these options. I'm gonna go Houston at home. I think that talent wise, I like what their DPS are producing at this moment over Portland's. We talked about Portland's DPS not stepping up last week. We need more from Anthony. I think that he's like the guy for them right now that you need to see off the wing being more dynamic for them to have a chance in this one. But I'm going to go with what the foundation Houston has at home with Bogusz. I think he gets on the score sheet here and they win this one. I'm going to say 2-1 as well.
Yeah, I'm riding the home team. I think you summed that up pretty well. It's unfortunate that Houston's game last week got delayed because now our sample size with them is just even smaller than
Fresh
everybody
though.
else. But yeah, but it's looked fine. I mean, obviously the last game they lost to LAFC kind of handily, but I think that year over year, this is a Houston team that's probably improved. Year over year, this is a Portland team that looks like they've taken a step back. So I like Houston in this one, and I'll follow. I'll go 2-1. That's chalk, I guess, for this one.
Okay.
We'll stay on the
Okay.
line. Yeah.
Galaxy at home versus SKC without Gabriel Peck in this one, so they will need someone else to create, which I think is an issue because he's been the only guy really creating so far this season for Klaus and producing for him to get some chances. So that's interesting. I think it's going to play a bigger factor than people think. I think because Bainsell's not really anything.
And he got
Uh,
hurt.
we got Marco Royce really isn't anything.
Yeah.
It's rough without Gabriel Peck at this moment. So I'm gonna go sneaky 1-1 draw at home for the Galaxy against SKC, and everyone's gonna be a little bit surprised by this one.
I think I'm going to go a step further and make it more surprising. I think Sporting Kansas
Oh,
City are going to win here. I agree with you. I think that the offense part is scary. They don't have either winger available, which has been, the fuel to the flame of João Klaus. But I also just midweek, I mean, they threw it against an easy opponent, but then they got them again, next week. It just, I know I sound crazy, but I can't understate how much that just takes down teams. So I think Sporting Kansas City is going to find a way. I mean, when it's Jovic, all it takes is a little bit for him to create something. I mean, he's just a true goal scorer. So I'm going to go Sporting Kansas City on the road.
RSL at home versus Austin. RSL has become my darlings of the MLS so far. I love watching this team so far. They're a fun watch, a good some good hits on their signings as well, which is a good early success. You like to see that because they haven't had that as of the past couple of years against this Austin side that I'm still I don't get their offense. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't get how it works. I think I hoped Facuna Torres was going to produce more for them. He still can. We're 3 games in the season. No time to overreact. But right now with the way these two teams have been playing, I'm going to take RSL's attack that's been producing early on the season, and I'm going to take them. I'm going to say 3-1 in this game.
I like the home team here too. I think that for Austin, it's unfortunate, but they've also just been battling injuries. Owen Wolf was a big spark, and is honestly like once he comes into place, then you can move Facundo Torres out wide where he really flourishes. I think that unlocks a lot for you there, and they just don't have that yet. So that's I think a lot of the reason why it looks like Austin's been struggling. On the other side, RSL is pretty hot, and they're only getting healthier. And they still don't have Yedlin. I think Engel's back now. They have Gulavogi, who's looked really good so far. Gozo's looked really good. And Herzakani, the kids are just performing right now. So I think that train still goes. I think that the MLS darlings, as you put it, get another win.
LAFC plays St. Louis. This is my ass kicking of the week, Tony.
Oof.
I think this one gets ugly. I think this is the Sun coming out
Awakening.
party.
Yeah.
Like in terms of goals, I am going 4-0.
Whoa.
And I think Sun gets 2 goals at least in this one.
Yeah, I think this is a very strong contender for Belt to Ass of the Week. But I don't know about 4-0. I think it's like maybe 2 or 3, but it feels like it could have been 7. Like yeah, St. Louis doesn't have it there. The structure's coming. I think, yeah, I've said this before. I don't think there's reasons to be incredibly down on this team, but they're just going through a lot of change at the top, and that all has to trickle down first. So I think that's just kind of the byproduct of having a team that's all the way there and ready to win trophies, and another team that's resetting everything. So, yeah, LAFC at home, pretty easy.
Sunday games here. New England at home versus our FC Cincinnati. FC Cincinnati desperately needs a bounce back. They need to score a goal. They definitely need to do that. They're playing midweek against Tigres, so it's going to make it that much more difficult. I don't know. I don't feel great about this. I don't. You know me. I've always got to pick our team. That's just my brand on the show. So I'm going to pick them 2-1. I'm just going to say it aloud. If I was not cheering for my team, I probably would go draw. Not expect a victory from FC Cincinnati, and I think they're even at risk of a loss in this because I just think that's the form that they're in. So I'm going to go FC Cincinnati victory, but I don't feel great about it.
I'll take a draw. I will. I think, yeah, the CONCACAF thing is going to pile up on them here, but this is a New England team that struggles offensively. I think even on, rotation, Cincinnati defensively holds up. The other side of that, though, is do they find a way to break through this New England team, which, I'm not sure. They held Red Bulls to only one goal. I mean, they got throttled by Nashville, but I'll say this, over and over again. I thought some of that was a little bit lucky from Nashville. So I don't think that they're the worst defense in the league by any means, this New England team. So are they a finished product? No. Are they enough to cause problems? Yes. So that's why I'm kind of just bouncing back and forth. I think it's a draw.
Okay. Next game, we got two more on Sunday. 4:30 game, Vancouver at home versus Minnesota. This was my other belt to ass contender, if I'm being honest with you. And
really?
I do. I know Minnesota's good defensively at times. I think Vancouver's looking that good right now. I love Sebastian Berhalter. It's getting close to camp time. I think that's probably playing a factor in how he's playing. And I think they're structurally sound in the attack to such a degree where they can just dismantle these poorer teams in terms of their defense. So I think that they're gonna be able to win this game, and I think pretty easily. I'm gonna go 3-0.
I don't see it like that. I think we have Minnesota on the road. They're going to have to throw everything they've got at Seattle tonight while we're recording, so Thursday night. So they're going to be rotated. And I just think that if anything Minnesota can do is that they're going to counter. They're able to do that when they sit back. Vancouver, while they do play a very flashy style, it's very fun to watch. I mean, it pushes the whole team up. It leaves space. In any area where you see Takaoka kind of scrambling like that, that's when you're at your best. Triantis, I mean, if he finds one opportunity like that, that's lights out. Like, yeah, it's just there's some worries there for me. So I think this is also a pretty wild pick, but I'm going to say Minnesota on the road.
Okay. Now into the Sunday Night Soccer. Fantastic Sunday Night Soccer game this week, by the way. San Jose at home versus Seattle. My favorite story so far. I learned from last year, Tony, with Vancouver. You don't pick against the good story, and I'm picking get on the train. This is my train, just like last year with Vancouver. San Jose's winning this one at home, 2-1. Timo Werner scores a goal. This team is going to be the story of MLS Week 4 as they go into MLS Week 5, and he probably eventually let me down, but not this week. Bruce Arena gets the boys up for it, and they take down Seattle.
I think I'm going to stick with my RSL train. I'm not going to hop on the San Jose train. I'm picking San Jose in this game, by the way, but in general, if we're talking trains, I'm not sure. I could see RSL finishing higher than San Jose the way they're playing right now. So, but in this game, I think that I just mentioned the Vancouver-Seattle clash in CONCACAF, which is going to be nice. That's going to be an epic game or series. But I think San Jose's got enough will in this one. We watched Seattle, like they've just kind of been coasting. And, in the game where they lost to RSL, like that specifically felt like they were struggling to turn on. And I think this is a Seattle team that we've talked about. They prioritize trophies, which is a good thing, but it comes at sacrifice of matchups like this. So I just think that they're going to be a little bit short-winded on this one. San Jose is going to come at them. Timo Werner is going to come at them. And it's going to be a good game for San Jose.
Yeah, there's always a team like that's not competing CONCACAF every year that takes advantage of this time period. And I think San Jose could be one of those teams that just jumps off the season on the right foot, and they're able to take advantage of these teams that are playing in midweek games and playing in more competitions. they're going to be more rested every single week than a lot of these teams will be. So I think that they've already taken advantage of that, and they will continue to do so. San Jose, if you want to jump on the train, hop on in. There's a lot of seats. It's kind of like the Polar Express. Like we sing and we dance, we drink hot chocolate, and
Oh, okay.
we enjoy
Is that really
ourselves.
Santa
Although it's
Southern
kind of hot in
California? Is
San
that
Jose.
their thing? Yeah, I was gonna say. Maybe
Well, this is
just
the
maybe
Ohio
just
San Jose train, so
yeah,
it's
maybe San Jose fans just send PJ a jersey. And
yeah.
if the RSL
Well,
fans are out there, let me know.
San Jose admin, if you're listening out
yeah,
there,
that's right.
I'm
Yeah.
ready. I will jump ship from FC Cincinnati so fast.
He will hang a scarf just like right
Yes,
behind him.
right behind me. I can add it to the collection.
Yeah.
Okay, Tony, I know you got to go. I think it's a good time. We're going to transition into Stin's picks here. So we appreciate Stin for giving those. Tony, enjoy the game. Bring us home a W. Evander's not starting, by the way. I just saw.
Okay.
So good luck.
All right.
But let's go enjoy the game, and let's tune in to Stin's picks here.
Let's start in Toronto, where Michael Bradley returns home. Red Bulls looking for revenge against Canada. Mehmeti needs bench. Toronto 1, Red Bulls 1. Here is my coughing baby versus coughing baby match of the week. Tua will be ashamed that he has to share a field with that club. Atlanta 1, Philly 2. Being a home truther is all fine and dandy until Nashville comes down. You can't stop the flying BJ Callahans. Nashville takes the black and yellow off with brute force. Columbus 1, Nashville 4. Off to LA, where we relive the unremarkable 0-shot win for SKC on Sunday Night Soccer. Jovic revenge game goal, but that's it. My prediction is that there will be more than 0 shots. LA Galaxy 2, SKC 1. What a matchup we have here with Bruce Arena's kids. Unstoppable force meets a movable object in a Heritage Cup. Daniel mutes Paul Rothrock and company, but can only keep up the charade for so long. San Jose 1, Seattle 1.
Okay, welcome back to Talkin' Pitch Side. Thank you, Stin, for your picks. We love them. We appreciate you. Some pretty spicy takes in here. I appreciate it as a solo caster here. We've got the Galaxy taking down SKC, which we both picked against. We have got a draw in the San Jose game, which you need to hop on that train. We've got Nashville destroying Columbus on the road. That's crazy. And we've got Philly taking down Atlanta on the road. And we have got Toronto and New York Red Bulls drawing, which that's what I predicted as well. Great takes. As always, entertaining. We appreciate you, Stin. In terms of any more news and notes following this week, U.S. Men's National Team camp is coming up, and there's a lot of drama about who will be selected. Be on the lookout for news. Nokai Banks is a big name that can go to Germany and the U.S. We're heavily recruiting him to the U.S. Young 19-year-old international that could really play for the U.S. for a long time going forward. Plays in the Bundesliga currently, standout player in the Bundesliga. So we desperately need him in our center back rotation. So I'd love to see him get in there. We've got some guys coming to the camp that are now healthy. We talked about last episode. Ricardo Pepi is now healthy and scoring goals. You've got Tyler Adams fully fit and ready to go. So I think we're in a good spot for the U.S. men's national team right now in terms of what we have available and what we'll have going in this camp. So be on the lookout for that. We'll have an episode coming out soon discussing all things U.S. men's national team. With that being said, though, shorter episode. We had Tony for a little bit here. We appreciate you tuning into our picks for week 4 in the MLS. And with that being said, we will see you guys on Tuesday to recap everything that happened over the weekend.